Hey there. Um, wow, it's been a while since I've blogged, and a lot has happened. I actually have my calendar next to me so that I can actually kind of periodically go through it and try not to leave anything out. So, to start off, my brother came to visit, and that was fantastic. It was just what I needed. Um, he had to work on an ATM, or actually, he installed an ATM at a new location in Tennessee, and I'm hoping that maybe he'll have to do more work out here sometime. Um, but we just had a good time. He bought me a grill, and so 2 nights while he was here, we grilled out. One night I had to work the night before Easter. So then after that, um, I slept for a few hours, and then he wanted to go to the mountains. So we took off for Abrams Falls, which drives you through the Cades Cove Loop, which is gorgeous this time of year, or actually anytime, it's very gorgeous. So we did hiking. That Monday we did um, went and he installed that ATM. It was about a little over 2 hours away from Knoxville. Um, so that took up most of that day. Then we kind of grilled and hung out. Let's see. Really, it was good for him, oops, to see me as I am now, and just to see what I kind of deal with on a daily basis. I think he got a better grasp of what I'm going through. And it's always good to have your brother in town and give you good life advice. I really admire him and what he's doing with his life now, and it's just he's one of my best friends, and it was great for him to be here. I think we both, we were on our way to his location for the ATM. We were just driving along, and all of a sudden, like, I felt like that cold wetness, and I was like, my bag's leaking. So, we pulled over at the next gas station, and I really just got so lucky that it was like a gas station that had plenty of room and space to like put my stuff, and I had an extra change of clothes, and all in all, it's really not that big of a deal, but it just throws me off mentally. Um, and I mean, I wanted to cry so bad, but of course, like, nobody wants to cry in front of their big brother. So he's like, "Are you okay? Like, it's all good, Like, he was like, "We got plenty of time. Take your time." We really weren't on a time schedule, which was lucky, but just kind of like, what are the odds? But I think if I would have been by myself, I probably just would have cried and freaked out about it for a while. But I don't know, something about having him there, and just it was good support, I think, and he just made it okay. So, um, I wish that we lived closer though, because we get along very well, and we have so much fun when we're together. So it's hard being away from him. It's hard being away from everybody back home, but like, I don't know. I'm really close to both my brothers, so yeah. So that was awesome. While he was here, I finally got those Cortifoam suppositories on board. And of all the suppositories or enemas that I've had to do on this stupid journey, the Cortifoam's the easiest. I don't know if it's just because it's foamy, I hated the liquid of the Rowasa enemas, but these aren't so bad. So the one thing they did do, though, is a couple days later, I noticed, like, I had this stupid rash down yonder. Yeah, nothing's ever simple when it comes to my body. But I got this, like, dermatitis looking just like an allergic kind of reaction type rash. So I notified Dr. Pollock. He said yes, the foam enemas can cause a rash. He was also concerned that it might even cause like a yeast infection. So I've kind of just been treating it as such, and being the nurse that I am, and I already had nystatin powder for the area around my stoma. Well, I just used it down there, and it's pretty much cleared it up. I haven't had any issues really since. I think there's a few traces of a rash, but nothing major. I also already had an appointment, or yes, it was that time to see Dr. Peden, my lady doctor. So, while she was down there today, I had her take a look at it, and she said, yes, it looks like contact dermatitis. I'm treating it appropriately. If I have any other issues, she said I could call her. So, yay, Dr. Peden. Love her in a weird way. She always, I mean, she's had some major concerns from me from the beginning, and she's very intrigued, I think, by what I'm going through. And I love hearing people when they tell me, like, oh my God, like, well, not saying that I'm inspiring, but she was like, if I were you, she's like, I would be in bed all day or super depressed. And she's like, I can't believe you're back to work and doing all this stuff that you do and hiking. And I don't know. I just want to live my life, bag or no bag. So, let's see. Oh, there's still so much more to tell. On this last Saturday, I drove to St. Louis. One of my really, really good friends from Columbia lives in St. Louis now, and she's getting married, and I wanted to be a part of her bachelorette party. So I hopped in the car, was so excited, finally getting out of Knoxville for the weekend, and it literally was the first time I've left since my surgery, besides to go to like the mountains. And so I was so excited. It was my last day of steroids, so everyone cross your fingers that my joint pain does not come back. So far, so good. But it's less than a week out, so I'm not holding my breath. So I drove to St. Louis, was feeling good, everything is fine. We take a party bus downtown. We eat at this new little facility that they've built right across from the Cardinal Stadium. I am alternating like beer and water because I know, like, I can't drink like I used to. I don't need to be doing that, for one. Number one priority is staying healthy. Surgery July 1st. And I knew I had to drive home. Like, I had to turn around and drive home on Sunday. So I was like, taking her easy. Wasn't doing anything crazy. But something hit me at about 11 o'clock. And I was just having terrible, terrible abdominal pain. Like, doubled over, in tears. Like, I thought something was wrong. I thought something had burst or ripped open, or I don't know, just a million things were going through my head. I was like, is there a blockage? Is my back, is something internally leaking? God, I was thinking my appendix. I was thinking, I mean, it hurt so bad. And it was different than any other kind of UC pain I'd ever had before. So I went and found Allison and I said, hey girl, like, I feel terrible. And I was like, I think I'm going to just take a cab to the ER. And she's like, oh no. She's like, we're getting ready to leave. She's like, you're not doing that. She's like, we'll take you. We'll take you wherever you need to go. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm not ruining your night. Like, please just let me take a cab. She wouldn't hear of it. Those Browns are kind of stubborn, I've discovered, but in the best possible way. So the party bus, we all got back on it, and the party bus dropped me off at Barnes Jewish Hospital, one of the top hospitals in St. Louis. And the best part is when I had to sign in, I had to give up my scissors that were in my emergency case, like with all my supplies and everything, that if I ever needed to change my bag when I'm on the fly. So they took away my scissors and they're like, how did you arrive here in the ER? I was like, the party bus. But it was fine. We got in there. They told me it would be like a 4-hour wait. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I'm crying. Please let me in. They triaged me. I was like, is there anywhere else I can go? Like, is it really a 4-hour wait? And she's like, they didn't have any rooms and their ER was full. So she's like, if we're this busy, more than likely everybody's this busy. So I took that as my cue to just park it. Allison's, one of her old roommates is a nurse as well. She lives in Kansas City now. And she was sweet and kind enough to stay with my pathetic butt. Thank you, Brittany. You're so very sweet. She rubbed my back and convinced me that I was gonna live, no matter what was happening, even if I had to have some sort of emergency surgery. She was there to listen to me cry and fret and say, oh my God, I should be in Cleveland. If something's wrong with me, I should be in Cleveland. So, she was awesome to have there, just very comforting. And I mean, I don't think that anyone would have left me there alone, but it was nice to be there with another nurse. So let's see. So basically, when I did finally get back there, which was like 2.5 hours after I arrived there, they ran a bunch of labs. They did a CT scan of my abdomen, and they gave me fluids and pain meds. They first tried to give me fentanyl, and that worked for like a hot minute until I got up out of bed to get my chapstick. Then the cute little resident was like, are you doing okay? He's like, you look like you're in pain again. I was like, yeah, I was good until I got up. And he's like, quit getting up. Yes, sir. Will do. But he was convinced that something was seriously wrong as well, and so he wouldn't let me have anything to drink, or not even ice chips or anything. He said, he kind of confirmed my worst fears, like maybe something's leaking in there, maybe there's a blockage. He's like, whatever it is, he's like, you may be going to surgery in the morning. Great. Yeah. I was really excited to hear that. But then he gave me some morphine. Lordy, did I feel good after that. It was ridiculous how good I felt after that. But all in all, CT scan comes back, lab work comes back. For the lab work, he said my lipase was slightly elevated, which that's an enzyme secreted by your pancreas. So he said there's two things that they noticed in the CT that it could be. One of them was possibly the start of pancreatitis. The other one, they saw a lot of inflammation down in my rectum. And when they cut my colon out, they folded a flap of it down and then sutured along there just to keep all the, I guess, to keep anything from just free flowing back into me, because they did leave the blood supply to my rectum. So like I said, it's still producing blood, mucus, that sort of thing. But they said that whole area looked really inflamed, and that especially around the suture sites down there. And I'm like, oh God, that's not good. Granted, there's bowel wall thickening. Yes, that's my disease right there. Yes, it will look thickened, and it will look inflamed. So he comes back saying, we think it's pouchitis. In my head, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't have a pouch yet, so how can it be pouchitis? But I also know that they pretty much were calling it a pouch where they had, like, rolled that piece of colon down and sutured it across. So I was like, is that what he's considering the pouch? And that's why they're calling it pouchitis? So he said, if it's that, he's like, we can send you home with antibiotics and pain meds, and you'll be fine. Or that should treat it. And he said, follow up with your GI doctors. Okay. If it's not pouchitis and it's pancreatitis, they were going to have to admit me, give me fluids, antibiotics, that kind of stuff, inpatient. It's like, well, I was really hoping to drive back to Knoxville tomorrow, but apparently that's not going to happen now. And he's like, no, he's like, we really think it's the pouchitis. He's like, let me give you some Cipro. He's like, give you some Percocets to take at home. He's like, obviously don't take them if you're driving, but he's like, we'll give you some Cipro and send you out the door. He's like, but if you are in any more stress or abdominal pain, he's like, you have to come back in. Aye, aye, Captain. So we leave the ER, I think at 7:30 that morning. So it was an 8-hour ordeal just to figure that out. Allison's sister came and picked me up. I got my Cipro. I got my pain meds. I get back to her place and they're all like, sleep, please, sleep now. So I slept from like 8:30 till 4:30 that afternoon. Got up, took a shower, ate a little bit, went back to bed at like 8 o'clock, and slept till almost 8 that next morning. So I was feeling a lot better. Wasn't really in too much pain or I just felt really groggy, I think, from being up for almost 24 hours, and then just the weariness of pain meds. So Allison and Brian were so sweet. They got me a sub sandwich, and we kind of started watching the Goonies. As much as it sucked that it had to end that way, it was kind of nice that I got an extra day just to kind of hang out with Allison. And I say an extra day, I literally slept most of it, but I got a few extra hours. We got to catch up and just kind of hang out for a little bit. But yeah, so I ended up driving back on Monday, and I called Cleveland to let them know what had happened, and Dr. Gorgon's nurse said, honey, they're treating you for a phantom illness. She goes, you cannot have pouchitis if you do not have a pouch. And I go, well, that's what I thought. But I said, I thought maybe they knew something I didn't. And she's like, no, it sounds like they misread your CT scan. She's like, is there any way you can send us a copy of it? Dr. Gorgon would really like to look at it. I said, yeah, I can do that. So I had to stop about halfway home, go to FedEx and get all this stuff faxed to them and get them my lab work. They wanted to see all that. So I am still waiting to hear back from Cleveland. Once they receive it, they're going to call me and see whatever Dr. Gorgon thinks is going on. So I'm praying it's not pancreatitis. I have no idea. I mean, with the way my body is, who knows at this point? But he was very concerned at the amount of pain that I was in. I mean, to be honest, it scared the crap out of me too. Every time I turn around, something new is happening. I'm so over it, but at the same time, like, I'm just praying that this July 1st surgery will go off without a hitch and I can stay healthy enough and get there and just knock it out. I have, I think, finally wrapped my head around the fact that it may not happen July 1st. And that won't be the end of the world. I mean, I'll be slightly devastated, but I want to do it right. I don't want a bag for life, bottom line. That's the end of it, is I don't want this bag for life. So I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do. The good thing, I guess, that came out of all this is that I asked Dr. Gorgon's nurse, I said, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I've been really optimistic, I think, at this point, or up till this point, about everything. But I said I need to be realistic. I need to be realistic with myself, with the options that I have, with what all's going on. Because she's told me, like, that it can't be pouchitis. If it was pancreatitis, that's completely unrelated to anything that they've done. Like, that would just be out of left field, pretty much, she said. That's not a normal complication. And she, so as she so kindly put it, that I am outside the norm. She said that the things that have happened to me aren't normal complications that people encounter after their colon's removed. But we also talked about the fact that my disease was low. It's always been low. And it's the inflammation in my rectum that's caused all that joint pain, that's caused all these other manifestations that we've seen so far. So that's why we're really trying to contain it with the topicals right now, with the enema and the cortifoam. But I just told her, I was like, look, the history of my body and what this disease has presented itself as and what it does to me tells me that I'm not going to fare well without steroids on board. That I'm not going to fare well without a biologic on board. Which he will absolutely not cut on me. Dr. Gorgon will not do the second surgery if that's the case. If I'm on steroids or a biologic like the Humira or the Symphony that I've taken in the past. Because it suppresses my immune system and I won't heal properly. and it jeopardizes that pouch that he's going to create for me, and he doesn't want to risk that. Okay, I get it. But so in my history tells me though that I'm not going to make it 3 months. Like that 3-month window that he wants me off of completely everything. My body's not going to make that. In my head at least. God, I pray, dear Lord Jesus, that it does. But if history is any indication of what's going to happen, it's not going to be pretty. So I'm explaining this to her, and I'm like, is there any way that he would do 4 surgeries? I go, can we just remove the rectum? Can we remove the thing that's causing all of these stupid problems? Let my body heal, give it that 3 months, I can come back, and then he can create the pouch. And then 3 months later, reconnect me. Just in my head, I was like, doesn't it kind of make sense just to add another surgery in there? She says, yes, that would make sense, except for the fact that when you remove that rectum, it's deep into like muscular tissue. So therefore it leaves a ton of residual damage, scar tissue. Just if you don't go ahead and put the pouch in the place where the rectum was sitting and do it all in one step, it doesn't take and it doesn't work, and you can't really suture into the scar tissue is how I have understood it. So Dr. Gordon, sweet little nurse, she, told him about my concerns. She voiced everything to him, and I go, so what are we looking at? Like, if he's not gonna cut on me until I'm at optimal health, that's the words he keeps using, my optimal health. I was like, I've never been optimally healthy because of this stupid disease and how low it sits. That's why none of the medicines ever really worked on me, I think. She said, if I end up having to go back on a biologic, or if I have to go back on steroids, that we would try that, get everything under control, and then at that point, when I come off those, that 3-month window goes by again and I'm still not super healthy, he will cut. Because I was like, is he just going to leave me high and dry with this ileostomy and I will have a bag for life? She said no. Eventually we'll get to that point where even if it's not as healthy as he would like me to be, he will still attempt. Which is kind of scary, but in my head I would rather him try. Say I have an extra 3 months with the bag and I try and get everything under control and I still can't, like, he'll go ahead and attempt the second surgery. It may not go as planned, so then I still may have a bag for life, but at least I know, like, we tried everything that we could. I'm not willing to go there mentally yet to even think about that possibility of a bag for life, because it's not ideal. It's not what I want. There's a lot of things about this disease, though, that are not what I want. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed and keep praying that it'll work out the way that it's supposed to. Yeah. Okay, I'm almost hitting 30 minutes. I've got to be done with this blog, but I do have more to tell you, so maybe I can get another blog in later, maybe tomorrow. So, hoping to hear back from Cleveland, see what they think of the CT scan. I'm hoping maybe it was just some weird fluke. Who knows? Um, and other than that, things are good off the steroids so far. So those are the two positives, I guess. And I go see Dr. Pollock, my GI specialist here, tomorrow afternoon, so he can kind of review everything too. I don't know. He may tell me to stop taking the Cipro. He may say finish out the course. It really doesn't matter. So we shall see. All right. Bye, guys.